The Pittsburgh Steelers got away with something last season, and most of the league is still pretending it did not happen. They won the AFC North at 10-7 while averaging 305.6 yards per game, 8th lowest in football, then got run off their own field 30-6 in the wildcard round. PFF ranked Aaron Rodgers the 22nd quarterback in the NFL this season, pointing at an average depth of target that was the lowest of his career. That is the team you think you know. It is not the team about to take the field. And it starts with a rookie quarterback nobody expected to matter, because everything else changed. Mike Tomlin stepped down on January 13th, one day after that playoff loss, ending 19 seasons. Mike McCarthy was hired 14 days later as the 17th head coach in franchise history, and only the 4th since 1969. Brian Angelicchio came from Minnesota to call the offense. Patrick Graham came from Las Vegas to run the defense. Omar Khan then traded for Michael Pittman Jr., signed cornerback Jamel Dean to the second largest free agent contract in team history, and gave 3 extensions worth a combined $214 million. One of those 3 deals tells you exactly what this front office believes about its own defensive line. The defense is where the season gets decided. Patrick Graham inherits Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, Derek Harmon, and Keanu Benton. As much money and draft capital as any front in football. What he does not have is a healthy secondary, and that gap is why the betting market has Pittsburgh 3rd, in a division it just won. Baltimore opened around minus 112. Pittsburgh opened around plus 500. I think one of those 2 numbers is badly wrong. If you want the rest of this offseason broken down the same way, subscribe before week 1, because this roster is going to move again before Atlanta comes to town. Start with the record, because 10-7 is doing a lot of lying. Pittsburgh won its 25th AFC North title and its first since 2020, and it did that while losing 6 games. 2 of those 6 were decided by 3 points or fewer. Cincinnati won 33-31. Chicago won 31-28. Flip those 2 results, and the Steelers finished 12-5 and host a divisional round game instead of playing on Wild Card Weekend. That is the honest version of last season. Now the other direction, because I have to be fair here, the 4 remaining losses were not close at all. Green Bay won by 10 points. Los Angeles won by 15 points. Cleveland held Pittsburgh to 6 points. Buffalo won 26-7. Add the wild card, where Houston outgained the Steelers 408 yards to 175. And you get 5 games where this offense was not competitive against a functional defense. That is the pattern nobody wanted to say out loud, and it is why the entire coaching staff got replaced. Here is the counted problem list. Pittsburgh scored 45 total touchdowns, and 42 of them came from the offense. The most for this franchise since 2020. And the team still ranked 15th in scoring at 23.4 points per game. The Steelers extended the longest active postseason losing streak in football to 7 games, dating back to the 2016 season. They also extended the longest run of non-losing seasons in NFL history to 22, breaking a record the Dallas Cowboys had held since 1985. Both things are true at the same time, and that contradiction is the entire franchise right now. Walk it in order, and the shape gets clearer. Derek Harmon missed the first 2 games with a knee injury, debuted in Week 3 against New England, and recorded a sack in that first game, joining TJ Watt as the 2 most recent Pittsburgh defenders to do that in a career opener. Then the schedule turned. Cincinnati won 33-31. Green Bay won 35-25 on a short week. Los Angeles won 25-10. 3 losses in 5 games, and the season was already wobbling. Then Pittsburgh answered. The Steelers hammered Cincinnati 34-12 in the rematch, lost 31-28 in Chicago, and 26-7 to Buffalo, and then reeled off the stretch that saved everything. They beat Baltimore 27-22. They beat Miami 28-15. They beat Detroit 29-24 in Week 16. the win that gave Mike Tomlin his 200th career victory and secured that 22nd consecutive non-losing season. For about 3 weeks, this looked like a team that had solved itself. The finish is what matters now. Pittsburgh scored 6 points in a 13-6 loss at Cleveland. Then the Steelers beat Baltimore 26-24 to clinch the division, a result that dropped the Ravens to 8-9 and knocked them out of the playoffs entirely. Then Houston came to Acrisure Stadium, scored 23 points in the fourth quarter, and left with a 30-6 win. Aaron Rodgers finished 17 of 33 for 146 yards with an interception. Mike Tomlin stepped down the next morning. Now the departures graded. The biggest one keeps getting skipped. Kenneth Gainwell was the team MVP in 2025, and he played that entire season on a one-year contract worth $1.79 million. Tampa Bay signed him in March for 2 years and $14 million with $10 million guaranteed. Omar Khan said at the Combine that Pittsburgh wanted him back. Pittsburgh did not get him back. Losing your own team, MVP, and replacing him with a different style of runner is a real subtraction, and I graded a loss. The Jonnu Smith release was the opposite, and it was overdue. Smith arrived in the Jalen Ramsey and Minkah Fitzpatrick trade with Miami and finished his only Pittsburgh season with 38 catches for 222 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, averaging 5.8 yards per reception. Cutting him cleared roughly $7 million. Calvin Austin III signed with the New York Giants on a one-year deal worth up to $4.5 million after posting 372 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Neither of those moves should worry anyone. The secondary quietly lost depth that mattered. Chuck Clark, Kyle Duggar, and Miles Killebrew all signed elsewhere. Cornerback James Pierre left. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and defensive coordinator Terrell Austin went out the door with Mike Tomlin. When Tomlin was asked about his replacement on NBC this summer, he said, "Mike's perfect for them, and they're perfect for Mike." That is a generous read on a transition this complete, and Tomlin has earned the right to be generous. The addition started with a trade almost nobody predicted. Once Alec Pierce re-signed in Indianapolis, Omar Khan moved on Michael Pittman Jr., sending a late-round pick swap to the Colts and then signing Pittman to a 3-year contract worth $59 million, an average of $19 million per season. Pittman caught 80 passes for 784 yards and 7 touchdowns in 17 games last year and has cleared 65 receptions in each of the last 5 seasons. That is the second receiver this offense has been hunting since it traded George Pickens. Then came the defense. Jamel Dean signed for 3 years and $36.75 million, the second largest free agent contract in franchise history, trailing only the 3-year $41 million deal Patrick Queen signed in 2024. Dean posted a career-high 3 interceptions and 14 starts for Tampa Bay and has allowed 1 touchdown in coverage over the past 2 seasons. Safety Jaquan Brisker signed out of Chicago, and there is a story in that one. Brisker grew up in Pittsburgh, played at Gateway High School in Monroeville, and starred at Penn State. He came home. The rest is depth with a purpose behind it. Rico Dowdle signed for 2 years and $12.25 million after back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in Dallas and Carolina, and he already knows this scheme because he played for Mike McCarthy with the Cowboys. Asante Samuel Jr. was retained on a 1-year, $4 million deal, roughly a year removed from spinal fusion surgery. And on August 13th, Pittsburgh brought back linebacker Elandon Roberts on a 1-year contract worth just under $1.5 million. Roberts spent last season in Las Vegas, playing for Patrick Graham. Pittsburgh hosted the draft this year and walked out with 10 players. Let me narrow that out loud, because 10 picks is too many to cover evenly. The Steelers entered the weekend holding 12 picks and made 3 trades to land on 10. In the first round, at pick 21, they took offensive tackle Max Ihiana-Chor out of Arizona State. In the second round, at pick 47, they took wide receiver Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama. In the third round, at pick 76, they took quarterback Drew Aller out of Penn State. Here is the case against the top of that board. Pittsburgh was reportedly closing in on USC receiver Mekhi Lemon before Philadelphia jumped the line and took him, pushing the Steelers toward Ihina Core, a tackle with genuine upside and raw technique. He has already missed camp time with the neck and shoulder issue, so the first-round pick cannot be evaluated yet. The rest of the class went cornerback Dalen Everett at pick 85, guard Jennings Dunker at pick 96, receiver Caden Wetchen at pick 121, fullback Riley Nowakowski at pick 169, defensive lineman Gabriel Rubio at pick 210, safety Robert Spears Jennings at pick 224, and running back Eli Heidenreich at pick 230. Here's the case for it. Drew Aller completed 633 passes for 7,402 yards and 61 touchdowns at Penn State before a broken left ankle against Northwestern in October ended his senior season and dropped him to round 3. In his first preseason game, he went 10 of 13 for 153 yards with 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and a passer rating of 154.8. Mike McCarthy told the Pat McAfee Show that Pittsburgh valued Aller as a first-round pick out of his junior year, and that the evaluation is, in his words, all holding true. Step back from the depth chart and look at the money, because the money says everything. Pittsburgh signed 3 members of its 2023 draft class to extensions this offseason. Edge rusher Nick Herbig got 4 years and $100 million, with $42 million guaranteed. Tight end Darnell Washington got 4 years and $42 million with $21 million guaranteed. And on August 14th, defensive tackle Keanu Benton agreed to 4 years and $72 million, an $18 million average that ties Cameron Hayward for the largest defensive line contract in franchise history. Benton earned it. He has played all 51 games since Pittsburgh drafted him 49th overall out of Wisconsin, started 40 of them, and set career highs last season with 51 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and 12 quarterback hits across all 17 starts. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network reported the deal keeps him in Pittsburgh through 2030. Add Derek Harmon, who won the Joe Green Great Performance Award as the team's top rookie despite missing 5 games. And this interior defensive line is locked up for the rest of the decade. One name is missing from that list, and it matters. Joey Porter Jr. is the 4th member of that 2023 class and still has no extension. He has been holding in rather than holding out, and he opened training camp on the physically unable to perform list with a back injury. Per Over the Cap, Pittsburgh is carrying roughly $3.163 million in cap space for 2026 and $3.938 million for 2027. The Steelers paid everyone else first, and now they have to find room for the man who plays the most snaps. Here's the hierarchy, honestly. Baltimore is the favorite after firing John Harbaugh, following an 8-9 season, hiring Jesse Minter, and adding Trey Hendrickson and Calais Campbell to a defense that needed both. Cincinnati is second, coming off 6-11, with a defense that ranked 29th in expected points added per play, which is why the Bengals traded their first-round pick for Dexter Lawrence and added Jonathan Allen, Boy Mafe, and Brian Cook. Cleveland is 4th after trading Myles Garrett. Pittsburgh sits 3rd on the board and 1st in last year's standings. The conditional stack is short. If Aaron Rodgers throws downfield even slightly more than he did a year ago, this offense scores more, because DK Metcalf set career lows with 59 catches for 850 yards on 99 targets while being the only real threat on the field. If Michael Pittman Jr. and Jeremy Bernard hold up, defenses cannot bracket Metcalf anymore. And if the secondary gets healthy, this defense is a top 10 unit. That last condition is the biggest variable on the roster, and it is nowhere close to settled. Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., and Dante Kent all opened training camp on the physically unable to perform list. Brandon Echols hurt an ankle. Mike DeFabo of The Athletic reported that 7th-round rookie Robert Spears-Jennings has been taking first-team safety reps, and Zachary Smith of Steelers now reported Pittsburgh has been in contact with Green Bay about cornerback Carrington Valentine while holding interest in Raiders safety Isaiah Pola-Mao. Teams comfortable at a position do not make those calls. My projection is 10-7 again, a wild card berth, and the first Pittsburgh playoff win since the 2016 season. Drop your record in the comments and subscribe before the Atlanta opener.